Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, Charlie Hurt, author of the upcoming book, Still Winning. Sarah, let's start with John's report. Pretty damning. And my concern, which is it's all true. We have all the evidence. We've been bringing it out. We hear Lindsey Graham's comments. Are they going to enforce the laws of this country equally? Are they going to apply them equally? Is there going to be equal justice under the law in this country?
Well, think about this, Sean. Had Hillary Clinton won the election, we probably would never know any of this ever happened. That's how frightening this is. So this was certainly based on the evidence that's been exposed over the last 2.5 years. We've seen actually a two-tiered justice system. I think it was quite shocking, not just for me, but for other people investigating this, congressional members. So I certainly hope so. I truly believe that Attorney General William Barr will do the right thing, that he and John Durham are conducting a thorough investigation. But just look at John's story, what was exposed there, and what happened. They did nothing. So they basically are burying this. We know Christopher Wray is fighting Judicial Watch and everyone else tooth and nail not to give up any information. All we can hope is that the Department of Justice does its job, that it cleans house, that it exposes those documents that are supposed to be made public to the American people, and that we know the truth once and for all, because we really cannot afford, just like you said, to have a two-tiered justice system, because the most important department in this country is the Department of Justice, and that's what we count on. That is the final say. Otherwise, nothing will happen.
All right, let's get to the politics side of this. And all right, $16 trillion. We're going to eliminate oil and gas. Everything's free. Everything's guaranteed. Now, every Democratic hopeful has expressed some form of support for the Green Deal and illegal immigrants and no walls and open borders and free health care, et cetera, et cetera. On policy, because assuming that creepy, crazy, lazy, sleepy Uncle Joe isn't going to make it, Charlie, on the issues, can they win on those issues?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the real problem for them is, I mean, this is devastating in a general election when all of these issues, like you mentioned, free health care for illegals, open borders, this crazy Green New Deal nonsense, the elimination of all cows and all this absurd stuff. It's terrible in a general election, but actually I would argue, Sean, that it's terrible in a Democratic primary. They can't even line up regular Democratic voters who would get behind this stuff. And I talk to voters all the time, Democrats who don't like Donald Trump and can give you an intelligent argument for why they don't like Donald Trump. And they are getting so misrepresented by the leaders of their own party with all of this absurd nonsense and all of the stuff about the Russia hoax thing and the calling Donald Trump a racist. These people, they don't like Donald Trump. They don't like him for very specific reasons. But when they hear Democratic leaders talk about this stuff, they scratch their heads and they're just wondering, what in the heck are these people talking about? And so I think that I think that they're doing themselves a tremendous amount of damage, obviously, in for the general election, but also for the primary.
Let me go to Sarah on this issue. So you have the New York Times editor, a guy by the name of D. McKay. We built our newsroom to cover one story, meaning the Russia hoax, conspiracy, and lying that they did for 2.5 years. Now we have to regroup because things got trickier. Trickier meaning their lies didn't come to fruition. Now we have to regroup, shift our resources and emphasis, and take on a different story. And the story they picked is racism. Now, they have their own anti-Semitism problem, but the Democrats are quiet on the squad and the two anti-Semites there. How do they get away with that?
They don't, Sean. This is all coming out publicly. They're filled with hypocrisy. They need to take a look in the mirror and fix the problem of anti-Semitism within the New York Times before they try to cast a stone at President Trump. It's just not going to happen, and it's not going to work.
Don't hold your
quickly,
breath.
last question. Who's the nominee for the Democrats? Quick, Charlie.
I think it's either going to be Biden or whoever replaces him in that lane.
Warren, Sarah, who do you think?
You know what? I think it's going to be Biden, too. Even though nobody's excited about him, I just think he's the most centrist.